Welcome to Morven Hills. I'm Richard Snow and my wife Annie is just here. We run Morven Hills at the moment. As you know, Bill Gibson's given you some of the history. I'll give a bit more, and then if you've got questions, it's probably better to ask, because I can waffle on all day and keep myself happy and you'll be sick of it. So initially Morven Hills was set up in 1858. The first wool shed was up at Breast Hill, which is, Breast Hill must be about 5 miles up the road from here. The reason it was up there, they used to shift the wool by bullock on bullock wagons over to Oamaru, and it was to save the distance for the bullocks coming back down here. After a while they realised the distance was too far, so they relocated the shed from Breast Hill down to here in about 1870, early 1870s. No one really knows the exact date. Bill might know, in the 1870s. So when it was at Breast Hill, the sheep were washed in Dip Creek and then put on Camp Hill to dry. That is why it's called Dip Creek, and it's still called that now. And they put on Camp Hill to dry, trying to light and get some of the grease and dirt out of the wool so that it was easy to lighter or get more on the wagons. Okay, so in about 1870 it was shifted down here. It was 34 stands. Number 1 is still just over here, just behind the crowd basically. Number 34 was over here, so there were 17 down each side. In their peak they got up to just over 130,000 sheep. They wouldn't have all been done here, but this shed was obviously set up for a large number of sheep. 34 shearers would do a substantial number. So this shed is basically still original. The iron and everything on the roof has been here since the day it was built. The holes in it possibly are because some of the iron may have been relocated when the shed was shifted down from Breast Hill in 1870, but that is still original. So my grandfather, he started here in 1910, or it might have been 1909, was it Bill, or 1910?
Mustering prior to 1910.
Yeah, prior to, yeah. In 1913, he and his good mate George Henderson took over Breast Hill. 1914 they took over Dunstan Downs, which is immediately over the Lindis, and in 1915 they took over Morven Hills, but they didn't keep those other 2 properties long. Immediately after that they went to the war, the First World War. They came back, they did a mutual subdivision. When they came back, George Henderson kept the other side of the road and Hector Gibson kept this side of the road. And Russell over here with the wee blue cap is the grandson of George Henderson. He is still over the road and I'm still here. So there's the Emerson family and the Snow family. We're still up this gully. The 2 doors here, one is just behind the wool press. It's hidden by a wool bin. That was the boss's door. About 5 feet further down is everyone else's door. And apparently it was dismissal if staff went out the boss's door. Those 2 doors led to the old buildings down over the bank where the shearers were fed, and they would have lived in tents down in the river. So they'd all go out those doors, down through the river, down to the old buildings where the cook shop was. So that big lot of buildings down there are all related to looking after the shearers up here.
Is this local timber, or?
People say it's beech from Makarora. Yeah. The big turret in the roof and the square in the floor underneath is where the old screw press used to be. So any of the old sheds that you see around that have got a turret on them was to house the screw press, which unfortunately we haven't got anymore.
Diesel motor up the back?
That was, the diesel motor was for the shafting plant down the end initially. Yep.
How old is that?
Oh. Bill?
The diesel, 1950.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not one of the 1910.
It was all blade shearing prior to that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you know where the old press went?
We've still got some of it. There's some of it lying around down in the gravel pit that I've seen. The massive old big cog systems are still down there. We've got one bin, but the only thing I've got are pictures of similar presses. Yep. I would love to get hold of one.
Is it protected? Is it under?
Yeah, it's Category A in the Historic Places Trust. Yep.
How many sheep does the shed hold?
About 1,200 in here. Yep.
One of the, if I may
Yep.
interrupt, one of the great things in this shed I've ever filled with sheep, guys, all your gates were open, you don't
Done it. Yeah, I've done it a few times. Yeah.
When the rain's on the way, is it?
Yeah. They do just run in. You just got to shut the gates. Yeah.
amazing, an old shed.
Yep. The other interesting thing with it, right round the shed, there's no spouting at all. You look at all the building codes these days, of basically all the crap you got to put up when you build a building, and they'll never live as long as this. Some of these people in town who, you know, give these building codes these days and the spoutings and system should come and look at this. 140 years old with no spouting.
Is that the original grading still, Richard?
Yep. Oh, in places. Yeah. Okay, it starts back in 1909 when my grandfather was a muster on the original Movern Hills. He was a senior muster in 1910 when it was all split up and subdivided. At that stage, it was sold. The Morven Hills as it is now, which is 36,000 acres, it was sold. He was still mustering here in 1913, at which stage Breast Hill up the road came on the market, and he bought Breast Hill. The following year he bought Dunstan Downs over the Lindis, and the year after that he obtained Morven Hills, by which time he had got rid of the initial two properties.
So was this your grandfather didn't get the ballot, didn't win the ballot for this?
No.
In 1910.
No.
This part wasn't part of that, or
No,
it
it
just
wasn't.
was won by a ballot from someone else.
It was sold in
That was actually
1910.
sold, was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So did the Dalgetties sell it then? So I'm just trying to get my head around the history of it. It just wasn't part of. Was it just not part of the ballot then?
I would need to check
Yeah, no, that's cool.
who
I've got
sold
the
it.
book.
I would need to check who sold it in 1910.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I've got
Yeah.
the book. I'll just
Okay.
look at it myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many generations have been here, and was it always assumed you'd take over? You know, how will that you'd be part of this?
Well, Hector Gibson had it, and then my father had it, because Hector died early. So it went through a period of managers. And then my father and mother were here through to 1985, and then I've been here since. Yeah.
And what is it about this place that is so special for you?
What is it about this? That's hard to define, really. Yeah, I don't know. It's just because I've been here all my life it becomes special. But it is getting harder and harder to make it to be viable. So you can't let that special side of it drag. You can't hold on for too long because it's special, if you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about this shed. Obviously, it's a pretty special shed. It's
Yep.
What did you say it was? Class
Category A.
Category A. Is it all old? Are there any parts that have been rebuilt? Can you tell me about how historic it is?
It's basically, when it was set up in 1870, there would have been a board down each side, which the numbers are still here. Number 1 is just over there, and number 34 is still just right here. So that has been changed. Because we only use 6 now, you've only just got the small section of board. The other boards have been removed. Apart from that, and the lighting, and the clear light in the roof, the shed is pretty original.